Hello everybody and welcome to a tank tour. This week's a very special tank tour because we've had a tank tour from this gentleman before, but this tank tour is going to be very different. Last tank tour from Brian was, what's wrong with my tank? This time it's, look at my tank. So
then tell me what's wrong.
Same as last time, Brian, if you want to take us through a little bit of your history in the hobby, because I'm assuming you want me to delete the last one like most people have. And take us through where you are just now, where you've been, and all about your new system.
All right. So I got into aquariums actually in 2020, like 3 weeks before the pandemic hit. I went from having a 2.5 gallon freshwater aquarium to within probably a year, I had 6 aquariums. So I dove in hard and then got completely burnt out and shut them all down. And about 6 months later, I would say my brother-in-law has been a reefer for as long as I've known him. And so I just kept looking at his and I was like, no, I think I'd rather do that. So I set up one 20 gallon with a hang on the back in, I would say January of 22. Maybe it was 21. I can't remember. And then from there, it's just been growing. I moved everything over to a 30 gallon. And then as we just moved in July, I decided I hated it. It was a 30 gallon, Innovative Marine 30 gallon long. I absolutely hated that tank from the moment I set it up, as all of you know. And I ended up moving everything over to a standard 40 gallon breeder with hang on the back equipment. And I've been nothing but happy with it ever since I set it up. So that's what we're going to go over here.
So just I don't want to flog a dead horse, but what was it, in your opinion, that caused all of those problems? Because it was a struggling tank.
Yeah. So I think if you boil it down, I think 2 things. 1, I had no idea how to supplement trace at all. And 2, it was too fucking clean. So I had very little nutrient in there. So I did an ICP test, and because some stuff was dying, a lot of stuff was alive but not thriving. And I did an ICP test. It came back with some low traces, and most notably, I had no phosphate in the tank at all. So I started feeding heavier. Started doing a combination of, like, every other day I would feed frozen with reefroids mixed in, and that did the trick. Now I still struggle to keep nutrients high, but like I'm doing nitrate dosing every day just to keep enough in there. Because I was running into the same problem here. What's that?
No, you're right.
Oh, yeah. So I still run into the same problem. So I actually have a fish that's coming out of quarantine November 2nd to try and add a little more bio load to the tank. But for now, I'm just dosing nitrates. I switched to TDO pellets, which actually, as a dry food, has helped a lot with phosphate. I don't know if there's anything documented about that amongst other people, but I would say that if you're low on phosphates, give the TDO pellets a try.
Pellets in general are just absolute rocket fuel. That's why I feed
I was using the New Life Spectrum, which came highly recommended to me from my local fish store. And I mean, to be fair, the fish seemed to like it just fine. But I mean, I will say the fish look more colorful. They look fatter and happier ever since I switched to the TDO pellets. So I think I would definitely go with TDO over New Life Spectrum, but I don't have anything to back that up other than my fish.
If I remember correctly, and that's why this is such a stupid fucking hobby, you cared so much about your animals and success that you were almost trying too hard to
100%.
keep them healthy, happy, tank clean, make sure everything was good, and they just needed, little nutrients and a little bit of, leave me the fuck alone. I'm okay.
Yeah. I think it's manganese is the trace that was really getting me in trouble, because I think I keep a lot of manganese dependent corals. And when I did the ICP, there was nothing. It was non-detectable. So I think that along with, yeah, like I used to vacuum my sand every time I did a water change, and I was doing a water change once a week. Um, so there was just no opportunity, I don't think, for any of that healthy, good, just like not dirty, but lived in feeling to develop in the tank. And so, yeah, now I do water changes every other week. Um, I'm looking at even doing maybe less than that now that I've got dosing dialed in. Um, and yeah, everything's been going really well since I kind of got some of that stuff sorted out.
I like your Lego bonsai, by the way.
Thank you. I should spend some more time with it. I built the tree and I haven't done anything to actually like put the leaves and stuff on it.
I change mine from the leaves to the blossom every spring.
Do you really?
Total loser.
No, I
Sorry.
would love. Yeah, I love Legos. I mean, I grew up playing with Legos as a kid. I just, for some reason, that's the thing that always takes the back seat if I ever have any time to do anything.
The only experience I had of Lego as a kid was a gigantic, huge ice cream box full of random coloured and shaped bricks. And all we would do is build a wall and then smash cars through it.
Nice.
That
Well,
was
that's
Lego.
Legos, man.
That was Lego
I
for
mean,
me.
that's what Legos were when I was a kid too. And I still have it. I have a huge tub that's just packed with random bricks of Legos. Nowadays it's all like this set and that set. And when I was a kid, still it was just bricks that you played with.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and you had to use your own creativity.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. Yep.
Now it's take a picture of the pile of bricks and it'll tell you what you can make.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
And so
Brian.
it's more of
Back to
for
your
a kid.
turn.
How do you use an app rather than how do you come up with something to build?
Yeah, sure. All right. So here, let me flip this around so you guys can actually
So
see this thing.
your living situation obviously changed. So you have actually moved house.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I actually live with my in-laws. So I'm well, let me show you this room. It's a packed room. So I'm in an all concrete, except for there's one wall that's not concrete, which is the one with the door on it. And it's packed. My wife's office is in here. I have a little desk in here. There's a TV in here. It's absolutely packed. So pretty much everything that we actually do for fun is packed into this one little room. And then we have a bedroom upstairs for me and for us, and then a bedroom for our daughter.
That is a lot of concentrated fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it's better than not having it. So I'll take it.
Keep your fun close and your fun closer.
That's right. All right. So let me flip this around and show you what I got in here. Um, so there's my poor Gobi who hates his fucking life right now. Yeah, so I turned the lights normally come on at 10:30 a.m. and I turned them on at 7:30 this morning so that everything would open up for this. And apparently he got caught sleeping in a corner and has no fucking clue what to do with himself now. Because he normally lives over here in that cave with a pistol shrimp. So yeah, sorry, buddy. But anyway,
You'll get over it.
he will. Hopefully he finds that hole again because it took him like 3 months to find it the first time.
I'm not going to I'm not going to take that any further.
Hey, you know what? That's fine. Let's leave that one right there.
I best keep quiet as well.
So, all right. Anyway, so coral in here. I mean, obviously you can kind of see them, but I've got my nice little hammer set up back there. I just did that after I got this torch here from Zach. It seems to be doing very well.
That looks dynamite.
Um, and yeah, I'm trying really hard to try and keep this set up like this. Although, as long as the flow stays the way it is in here, the torch never touches the hammer. It actually did briefly when I was doing a water change yesterday, and I was like, oh shit. The torch will stick right onto the hammer if you let it. So anyway, trying to
Have
keep
you
that.
siphoned the tentacles up yet?
Nope, it hasn't happened once.
Good.
Ever since I admitted that to you, I'm now extra super fucking conscious about it.
A few of those tentacles do look quite inquisitive.
Yeah, well, they're long. I mean, it'll get, almost up to where that pump is. It doesn't reach, but it's a long torch. The only torch I've ever had before this was not anywhere near that long. But yeah, it looks great.
It is
So
such a stupid feeling when you do a water change and suck one of those off.
Oh my God. Well, I did it. So the torch I had previously, I accidentally, it was like right where, um, yeah, whatever. I don't know what I just missed, but I'm whatever. So,
Taters said, "Suck off."
I'm
uh,
trying to behave myself, ready in preparation for the new one I'm going on, but that's just.
Sorry, I'm a child.
aren't we all?
I think
You
anyone
sure?
who's had
Anyway,
torches or frog spawn or anything like that has gotten a little too close and done it.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, and I accidentally did it like 3 water changes a row to this torch, and just because it was right where I put the hose in, for some reason, it just lined up perfectly, and it just never really recovered from that until it really started to look sick, and I just ended up pitching it. Um, but anyway, we're really not going to do that to this torch. So I got a couple guys down here. I am trying to figure out a little bit what's going on with these. I actually just moved them yesterday, just because I'm not getting very good extension out of them, and I have no idea why. Um, they look good. They look healthy. This one was very nearly dead. That's actually it. At one point had almost no flesh left and no polyp extension. So I'm pretty happy with where it's at, although it looks pretty pathetic.
You do have a little angel there, I see. What kind of angel's that?
He is an Atlantic pygmy. I don't know
Yeah.
where he just ran off to, but yeah, Atlantic pygmy angel. I
They
do
can be a
suspect that he
little
does
partial
a
to Gonnies.
okay. So I have never seen him. Well, actually, other than I once had a toadstool in here, and he loved to nib at that. But I've actually never seen him nip at any other coal. I suspect that he might nip at some of my acros over there because I struggle to have good polyp extension. But outside of that, I've never really seen him nibble at stuff. He does get a little more aggressive if I don't give him some seaweed in the seaweed feeder back there, and he gets a little bit more likely to. It looks like try some new things on. But yeah, I got this Duncan just about a year ago. It was only about 3 polyps when I bought it, so it's doing pretty well. It's grown a lot. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has any questions.
That
Otherwise,
looks great.
I can go over every coral. I don't know how you really run these, Ron,
Is
other
that the
than
tidal
just
filter?
it is. Yeah. So yeah, the equipment on here, that's a good point. Is I have a Tidal 55 as a filter. I'm using the XP Aqua Sunplus ATO, which is what that little box is right there. I absolutely hate the jet that comes straight out of it, so I super glued a lock line elbow onto it to push it out the side instead of coming straight out the front. And then there's I have an Aquamax hang on the back skimmer that works pretty well. I hate light spill, so I made this little strip that's glued onto the back of my lid so that I can cut all this equipment in specifically. And then I have these
Smart.
little lean up things because like you can see here, I just made this one for the filter recently. You can see I basically had a little algae what do they call it? Yeah, algae scrubber on the outflow of the filter. So we're just letting that die off
Nice.
slowly. And then let's see here. I've got one of the Jabo, I forget exactly which model that is. Pumps. It's one of the smaller ones. And then I have a Nero 3 over here. And
What
then I
lights
use
are you running, Brian?
what's that?
What lights are you running?
Oh, I have 2 Kessel A160s.
They're giving a really good spread in that tank.
Yeah, they are.
They do. I think they do well. And I actually had to. They peak at I think about 85% for a couple hours in the middle of the day. Otherwise, they just ramp up and down. I do have down here. I use the spectral controller. This is a little bit of a mess right now. I actually have never put it all back together since the move, but yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, and like that that forest fire digi
Can I
back there
trumpet?
actually. What's that?
I was just looking. Are there trumpets to your left?
Yeah.
Trumpet core? Oh, okay. I've never seen them like that. Hmm.
No?
No, legit. I've only ever really seen the ones on your left. and the candy canes like the kryptonites. I've never seen them kind of peel like that and big.
Yeah, no, I don't see them very often, but
That's pretty cool.
those one, yeah, they were cheap, man. I think I got those for like $20. So yeah, and then so I've got some SPS in here. I've got a blue Digi. I've got a forest fire Digi that actually looked abysmal until I moved it just slightly like 2 weeks ago, and all of a sudden it's uh, come back to life and it looks good again. Got the green coming back. It's starting to actually put some branches out, as you can see.
That looks really nice.
Yeah, which is actually I've owned that coral for over 2 years, and that's the first time it's branched for me. Otherwise, it's just been pooling out, as you can see by the way it's covered that rock, but it hasn't ever actually branched until just now.
It's obviously happy.
Yeah, so finally, it's about damn time. So I've got this acro back here. I don't know what it is. I think it might be a PC rainbow, but other than that, I have no idea. It's got really cool colors. It's like red, yellow, and green. I think it's starting to pool out again since the move. It seems to have struggled to adjust after the move, but it's starting to really look nice again. So hopefully it'll start to grow. I got this one here that's grown a lot. It started out as just that tiny little piece right there. It was just a little tiny booger, and then it's grown, and it's growing rapidly. You can see on this side, it really only wants to grow in the one direction, but it's been doing really well. And then this here was nearly dead. I think it's slowly starting to come back. I've been seeing some polyp extension out of it, getting some color back since I started dosing the nitrates. Yeah. Let's see what else. I got my 3 lords down here. This is one that still is a holdover from when I sucked at keeping a reef tank, so it's been very slowly coming back to life. It nearly died, and it's starting to add some polyps finally onto it. It turns out if you let coral almost die, it takes them for fucking ever.
Yeah.
It really does. Brian, your tank is looking absolutely stellar compared to the last time I saw it. So
Yeah,
well done.
thank you.
And
Thank
it
you.
went through
Yeah.
a move.
I know, and it looks. I mean, what's funny is, so after I moved, I think I barely touched the thing for like a month. I mean, all these corals were not even glued to rocks, except for the ones that were already like stuck on. I mean, they were just sitting on the sand for like 3 weeks before I finally had time enough to come down here and actually reposition them. And it's really the last like 6 weeks or so I've had the time to put back into it again to get everything really, really looking good again. And luckily, most of it was healthy enough during the move to come right back.
What rock
So-
is that, Brian? Is that live rock or man-made rock or?
No, it's a combination of there's some Carib Sea Life rock in here, and some of it's just whatever I can buy at the fish store, cement rock. It's nothing special.
Okay. Smothered in coralline.
So actually,
Yeah,
that's
a
a
lot
little
of
bit of a
coral.
lie. Some of it, like there's a big piece actually underneath this rock. There's a big piece under here that I got from a system that I purchased off the guy that I work with. And I have no idea what rock that is, but it looks more like actual live rock that came out of the ocean.
Mm.
But I don't have any idea what the sourcing of it was.
Yeah, the color reminds me of the Carib Sea stuff, but it looks way nicer shapes.
Well, most
Yeah.
of this is actually covered in actual, like, so that rock right there that's almost completely purple was just a piece of average rock. So that's all just coralline that's grown on it naturally. And most of the Carib Sea Life rock now is covered in, instead of like the fake purple that came on it, is covered in actual coralline.
Have you got any urchins in that tank or not?
Nope.
No, okay.
That probably explains all the coralline.
Yeah, I was going to say, because they do eat coralline, don't they?
Yes, they do. Mine scratch.
Well, and I have seen,
back to pure white.
I would swear that my emerald crab has been eating some of it because I see him picking all the time, and maybe he's picking little bugs off of it, but it looks like he's picking at the actual coral. I wish he would go for the bubble algae a little more.
Mm.
The acans look really well as well.
What's that?
The acans look really well. Nice fluffy heads.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and so I just recently, a few weeks ago, like I said, I was up at Zach's shop and I got that torch, and then that's a somebody help me.
Stylo.
Stylo?
That
Yeah,
looks like a star.
Stylo. Thanks, Zach. And I got from him.
Looks like a blue stylo.
Yeah, and then I got this green Lord from him
And
as well.
where is that store? Sorry, Brian.
Great Lakes Coral. It's up in Petoskey, Michigan.
If you were to
So it's
give
like
it a mark out of 10,
10 out of 10. Yeah, if not 11.
I totally agree, and I've never been.
Yeah, it's easily the best reef shop I've ever been to.
It is banging.
No, and I'm not just saying that because you're in here, Zach. Genuinely, if compared to the stores down here in a much larger city than the one you're up in, it puts them all to shame.
He's
Thanks,
also
man.
really hot.
And there's that.
And it's super cool.
Go on, you guys.
He's on this group called ReefyAF, and he's so cool. And his voice is awesome.
It's like golden syrup, isn't it?
And he's got a purple helmet
Yeah.
In stock right now.
in stock. Yeah.
Snakes.
Sorry.
Wait till you see his
So
beard.
there's the bubble algae I wish that fucking emerald crab would eat.
Is it only on that? Is it isolated to that one rock, Brian?
That's most of it right now. Yeah, he actually, and I have to be fair to him, he did go at some of the bubble algae as soon as I put him in there. I don't think he's found that rock yet.
I'd be removing that rock.
You know, you can pick him up and put him on the rock.
I should do that.
Yeah, just super glue him to it.
Too far wrong.
You will eat it.
That's it, yeah.
Well-
you have a choice of 1 mil.
In one sense, if you super glues it to rock, it'll make it easier for when he does a shed.
Yeah, that's true.
You
Yeah.
give him a little better leverage.
Your mic is way better today, Lee.
I'm not using my normal one because battery's dead. So it's just whatever's on there.
That's bizarre.
Okay.
It sounds better.
That's weird. Yeah. Downgrading is better.
Yeah, a piece of shit. This.
What fish you got in there, Brian?
So I've got a pair of clowns. So that's a true perk. He's an F1 from a wild pair. And then I've got most people would just call it a black ocellaris. But he's from she, I think, is going to end up being the female. Is from Sustainable Aquatics. And actually, that's a Darwin clown. Supposedly, she came from an actual pair of Darwin clowns from the wild.
So that's jet black and white.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
When I
okay.
got her, she still had a bit of the orange face, and then as she's grown, the orange face has completely vanished.
Oh.
It's
So,
interesting
and then
hearing you say F1. I haven't heard that since freshwater stuff,
Yeah,
where
same
they
here.
used to
Yeah.
keep track of the generations.
Well, and that's why I like working with my local fish store. They do a ton of freshwater breeding projects, so they're a lot more familiar with that type of terminology. So when they that's how they actually list the fish when they get them from Sustainable. If they're like true wild type bred fish, they'll actually track the generations, and you can know what generation you're purchasing. So,
Pretty cool.
and then let's see here. What else is in here? I've got a tail spot blenny right there. Just perched on that rock. He's staring right at it. This poor goby that we looked at earlier, and then there's the pygmy angel. So
I know them
and
as
then,
cherubs.
Nice little angel.
yeah. So I mean, Atlantic pygmy, cherub, all
Beautiful
all the same,
fish.
from what I understand. Yeah, I love that fish, and he's got a ton of personality. And I love how much I can tell about that fish just by watching him. Like if I haven't been feeding seaweed often enough, like he'll actually look stressed out. If he hasn't been getting enough of a varied diet, you can tell just by looking at the fish.
I
And
absolutely
then there is
love pygmy angels. I'd have them.
there's a candy pistol shrimp in there somewhere, I think. I don't know. I guess I'm a little concerned that maybe it died because if he was out sleeping outside this morning, I don't know why he was doing that. So maybe it died yesterday, but I heard him snapping away last night. So please. And then there's an emerald crab in here somewhere. And then coming November 2nd will be a yellow chorus wrasse.
What QT do you use? Is it in copper or?
I actually don't. And the reason for that is that the store that I purchase all of my fish from does a full 4-week quarantine with hyposalinity, copper, and observation. So they're the only store I know of that does that, and I'm very grateful that they're about 20 minutes away from me.
That is really handy.
That is
It is awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, I get all my fish from there. I've not had a fish left due to illness since I started the hobby.
Wow, yeah, that's cool. Is there much price difference in that from a
From what I
un-QT
understand,
fish?
they charge a little more, but so they also do a podcast out of that store, and they did a whole episode on their quarantine. And the way that they justify it is like they're like, we might charge a little more for salt water, but and to be fair to them, it isn't much more. Like I think I'm paying $50 for that chorus wrasse, which I think maybe I can get it on Live Aquaria for 45, but then I got to pay shipping.
Wow.
Well, in live aquaria, you're almost guaranteed to get all kinds of diseases with it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so the way that they look at it is if they do the full 4 week quarantine, they can basically cover the price of the person who does the quarantine and the time that they're not selling those fish with the lack of fish loss that they, because they went from like a 30 to 40% fish loss rate down to like less than 10%. And so the sale of all those additional fish that aren't just dying pretty much covers the difference for them. At least that's how they justify it.
Interesting.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they talk about it makes sense to me. And I mean, the guy that owns the store used to own or be part owner of one of the other stores that's around here, and then he ended up leaving there to open this store. So I mean, I know he's been in the hobby and in the industry for like 20 some years. So I trust what he says on it.
I think that type of attitude will actually help the hobby a little bit. If people aren't just continuously losing things.
Right. No, I agree wholeheartedly. I tried to push him to get to reach out to Humble Fish and get certified as one of their quarantine fish vendors. I don't think he's ever done it, but I'm like, you guys deserve to be recognized for the amount of effort you're putting into making the hobby better.
Yeah, I think to be a certified humble fish, you got to follow his way. So even if you do something a little different, it's like I don't know for sure, but I think that's what I remember reading about the quarantine people that he certifies.
Yeah. I just want
that fish at the store, is it then? When you say you're waiting for it, is at the shop, is it? And then you'll just go and get it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, he'll be done with the 4 week quarantine on November 2nd. So they'll bring him up to the sales floor with a whole tag on him for me, and then I'll run by and pick him up. So and they'll take me downstairs. They've got they have 4 saltwater quarantine systems basically running at any given time. So that they can be
very nice thing to have.
Yeah, it's
just
awesome.
Have a shop that QTs your fish.
Right.
Could you imagine if they tried it here? I mean, I know one shop in particular around here. If you bought a fish and asked that person to keep it for you, no chance. A random person would come in and say, "Can I buy that?" Sold. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get shops sold on the fish.
Yes. Well, and that's the other store here. I mean, I think sometimes they'll hold them for like 4 days to just watch them before they sell them. But other than that, they don't do anything to get them healthy. They just sell them.
Yeah. I ordered peppermint shrimp, and this shop actually keeps them in little floating acrylic
pots.
Yeah. So I walked in because I was told that day the delivery was coming in. I said, "Did those peppermint shrimp come in?" And no answer. I said, "Is that them?" It was just 2 in a pot. And he said, "Did you order 2?" I said, "Yep." He says, "Well, they're fucking yours then." Cheers. Bye then.
My kind of shop is that.
Yeah, it sounds very refreshing what you're dealing with, Brian. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I love it.
Do they get a good range of fish for QT? I often wonder whether they're restricted in the sort of species they offer.
So actually, yes, they are a little bit restricted in what they do. So they're trying to work on some of that, but they don't do a lot of the really small captive bred fish right now because they struggle to get them through their quarantine process.
Right.
So they don't do the captive bred yellow tangs. They don't do the captive bred.
The mandarins.
Yes. Yeah. So they struggle with those just because they're so small. So they struggle to get them enough food throughout the process to keep them healthy throughout. Because it's from what I understand, it's a fairly stressful quarantine process because they bring them down to hyposalinity and they run copper. So that's just what they've said, and I think they're looking at kind of developing some different processes on to run a separate system for those smaller captive bred fish to get them healthy.
So have you got any other plans after you put the wrasse in, or is that going to be your full complement of fish, do you think?
That'll probably be it. I'm really bad when it comes to fish. I don't like watching fish aggression. So I struggle to just like kind of let those issues be.
You need to get a convict tank in there, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I don't have any other plans to add anything else.
Right.
And I don't want to overpack it. I don't know. I guess according to the store that I work with, and they're called Watercolors Brand Gallery, by the way. I don't know, just so everybody knows that. If you want to check out their podcast, it's available. But they, they advocate for very light fish loads. So like for me, if you ask them, this tank is fully stocked. And most people that I talk to, they're like, you need way more fish. I'm like, what am I even going to put in here? Like for the size of it, there's not a ton of options out here. I already have a blenny, I have a goby, I have a pair of clowns, I have an angel. I'm going to try the wrasse and see how it goes. But like I've tried other things. I've tried some hawkfish. I've tried, was it not an anthias, maybe it was a damsel type fish, and I can't get any of them to get along with the group of fish that I have.
I'm just watching the female clown thinking she might be bad news for new additions. There's something about her.
And she actually was the one that aggressed the goby this morning, and that's how I knew he was sleeping. He was sleeping right up in this corner here, and all of a sudden I watched the clown, because they sleep back in that corner up there, and all of a sudden she just kind of started swimming down this way and just flapped her tail at the goby, and then he darted off, and now he's just been doing this stupid show ever since.
Yeah,
so I don't know. For starters, I don't know why he was sleeping down here. But yeah, I don't know. So hopefully she doesn't get super aggressive as she continues to grow.
I think you're going to be disappointed there, buddy.
Yeah. Have they ever spawned? Has she ever laid eggs or anything?
On the bigger side, and they get meaner as they get bigger.
Yeah,
I think best case scenario is she settles with what you've got, but you will never be able to add anything else.
Yeah, my clown's a dick.
She's a damsel at the end of the day, guys.
Yeah, she. If you haven't noticed, I haven't given any updates on that little angel I added because it's long gone. I think she harassed it to death.
Oh, sorry.
Yellow Tang, she wouldn't leave it alone. Anything small that gets added, she's just like, I'm going to fuck you up.
That sucks. Well, and that's what's funny. Like, the two clowns hadn't paired until I moved, and then I moved, and all of a sudden they're paired. Like, they sleep together, they hang out together, they have no problem with each other. Which is just weird. But, because, like, before that, they were kind of aggressive with each other, but not at a point where it was a problem. Nobody was damaging each other, but now after the move, they suddenly are together. So, and I'm hoping the wrasse is at least fast enough and agile enough and big enough that it'll be able to get away from her and not get bothered too badly. Is my hope, but we'll find out.
Is that a sand dwelling wrasse? I forgot what wrasse you said you're getting there, to be honest.
Yeah, yellow choruses are.
Oh, yellow chorus, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just dive into sand.
It's a big jumper too, I think. So you gotta be careful.
I think my lid is about as tight as it can get, man.
Nice.
Yeah, your lid looks fantastic.
I think a yellow chorus wrasse would actually split itself into 15 pieces like Terminator.
Yeah. Like when it'd be chipped.
Yep, squeeze through that. Regenerate.
Like French fries.
With ketchup.
Yeah.
You
ever thought about an enemy for the clans or not?
I've never had an anemone.
Don't
do the joke, Ron.
Can't
even do the joke, Ron.
I knew where he was going.
I was about to finish it off for him.
It's the only reason he brought it up.
Yeah.
They do look good in an enemy, though, clowns.
Yeah, when they're hosting them, yeah.
Whatever way round it is, they do look good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically the clowns were there first, and they're hosting the anemone in the tank.
Don't you dare, Jimbo.
What? It's their tank. It's not the anemone's.
Moving on.
I've never had an anemone. I would be open to one, but I have no idea. I don't know how to care for them. I have no knowledge on anemones other
Don't
than
do
the anemone
shit.
host the clowns.
Put them in there.
Yeah,
They're
very
awesome
simple.
until they decide to hang
So they
out
blend
in a
themselves.
power head or
Yeah, that is
go
the
down
only
your overflow
downside.
grate.
Yep.
Like they're just they seem fine, and then all of a sudden they decide today's the day I'm going to off myself.
Well, see, and that's the thing. I don't want them moving around. Like that's why I've never had
Yeah.
one. I don't really want something. The things that I want that are mobile are things like fish and normal inverts. I really
You
don't
don't want
want.
to put one in there because it'll end up on your rockwork and kill 4 or 5 corals around it,
Well, that's the thing.
and
I
then
mean, like
decide it wants to go somewhere else.
this thing is already pretty full, in my opinion, coral wise. So it's like I don't really want.
Yeah.
I'm really not trying to shoehorn anything else in here.
I really like how minimalist your rock is.
Thank you.
I also like the fact that you've got chunks off of the main scape as well. That's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, well, my little Lord setup here is actually inspired by you, Ron. So you can take pride in that. But that's actually a rock that they're stuck to down there. I'm like, well, that's cool. I'll kind of copy Ron a little bit and put Lords glued to the bottom of the rock down there.
I think they look great.
I love the scape. I think it looks really cool.
Thank you.
Too.
It
looks,
I like that.
and I think it's perfect amount for your coral because the coral's going to grow in and be double the height. Then
Yeah,
it'll look great.
Well, that's my hope. If I can get some of these other SPS to grow. So I'm really excited that the forest fire is starting to grow, and the blue digi's growing really well. So I'm just hopeful that they start to hopefully take up some vertical space.
What's your time frame for where you're staying, Brian?
Hopefully a year.
Okay.
So, and we're just about 3 months into that. So, in theory, another 9 months or so here, and then we'll start looking at trying to get out of here.
When you move, are you going to upgrade again, or
probably not? I mean, yes, but not right away. I guess. Let me put it that way.
I was about to say boo.
Yeah, no, there will be a huge upgrade in the future, is my hope. But yeah, as far as right away, I'll probably just try and. My dream is to have a larger display that is plumbed through a wall into a fish room, so that I have just free open access to the sump. I don't really want to climb around in a cabinet if I don't have to.
Oh,
I'd love something like that.
I love it.
So yeah, and I've got a lot of I've worked a whole lot of different careers. I've got a lot of the DIY skills to make a lot of that happen for myself. So I think that'll be, hopefully, as long as we get a house with a place that'll allow me to do that. That's the plan down the road.
You could expedite the entire situation by asking a very clumsy friend to help you move house.
I could.
Whoopsies.
Whoops. I guess I have to go buy it now. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, they only had the big one, darling. Sorry.
Oops. Well, I actually have a bunch of the stuff already to do it. I have a big sump that I got that same deal that I did when I got some of that rock. I have a huge, it's a red flex reef sump, and it's like a 3-foot long sump, acrylic. So I already have that. So what I need really, I've been looking at Fiji Cube makes a really nice, I think it's only like a 90-gallon, but it's a long, low 90-gallon tank. I was like, that'd be a nice tank. It might be a little too short, so I don't know. I got to find what I would do for a display. But like the Red Sea stuff, a lot of the people that make tanks nowadays, you can't really buy just the tank. You have to buy the whole setup.
It sounds lagoony.
That was the problem I had when I was trying to buy a tank. They want to sell you the cabinet and the sump and and the display all in one deal, and that's not what I wanted. So,
yeah, right. Well, that's where Fiji Cube is probably what I'll end up with, because you can still buy just a tank from them, at least for now.
Sephora.
Okay, Sephora. Yeah, and I could go with one of the.
That's what Zach has. That's what you have, right, Zach?
Yeah. 2 Sephoras. Honestly, Brian, I think Innovative Marine still does individual tanks too, I think.
Okay.
Like they do kits, but obviously I think they do separate tanks as well. But
okay.
I haven't looked into that in a while.
Yeah, and I don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, and then they've started doing their stands out of the extruded aluminum. So you can get them with a sump, without, internal, external. They do customs now too. So yeah, I am trying some different approaches.
Well, I wouldn't mind getting tank and stand. I could build a stand, but I just feel more confident having one that's designed and purpose built for that tank.
The warranty.
But I do
nice
like
to have.
I like having a ledge around the tank though, which means I'll probably end up having to build one.
That's why I built mine. I wanted to have more space around it.
Yeah, like I like just being. I mean, whether I'm testing or drinking a beer or whatever, I just like being able to set it down right next to the tank.
Yep.
That's why I like Ryan's big tank. It's like almost like a bar, isn't it? You just like you pull out a stool and you're just sitting there staring at the ocean. It's very cool. I like having that, that bit around the tank there.
So I do have, just for posterity, there's this little 10-gallon ship box as well. That's supposed to be a grow tank. So, yeah, that, and then just for like the whole how I do all this down here, that yellow and black tub is actually my RO reservoir. It comes down, so the laundry room is right above me here. So that's the drain for the washing machine. And so I'm hooked up to the laundry water supply. The RO machine is upstairs in the laundry room. And then that blue hose comes down and runs down here to this reservoir. So I can do everything I need to do with water down here.
Have you had any floods yet?
Nope.
Ooh.
Scares the shit out of me though. Dude, when I run that RO machine, I am like on high alert, hyper vigilant. It scares the ever loving shit out of me.
You got a float valve in that container?
No. I would love, by the way, some advice on how to set up some kind of, because the issue I've run into is that most of the setups that I've been looking at require power, right? So they count on the machine and the reservoir being near to each other, which they are not.
Oh, the float valve you would just put inside that black and yellow tank. Literally, as the water level gets to height, it shuts off your RO.
Well, it just shuts off the supply line, right? So then,
yes,
or it shuts off the product line.
Yes.
So then, but then doesn't that just build pressure inside the machine? Like,
yes, and then
it's just
it'll force water. Yeah. Mine will force water out like around the canisters on the RO machine, on the RO unit.
We should have auto shut off on it.
But yeah, the auto shut off on mine is jacked up. I don't know what's wrong with it.
Is this because you have a booster pump?
Well, yeah, I have to have a booster on mine because I don't have enough pressure here.
Fucking most boosters should have a shut-off valve.
Well, I think it's
shut-off's jacked up. What's wrong with it?
I think XP Aqua makes the Flood Guardian, and I would love to use that, but that's one that has to be powered. So like I'd have to,
Do you Brian have a? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Do you have a booster pump?
No, I don't.
So you're just running water through an RO unit out of line into that RO unit, that container.
Correct. Yeah, it's just and I get about 60.
So the pressure will only build to the pressure in your house's water, which is probably around 40, 50 psi, right?
Yep.
At about 60. With nothing else running it, the pressure gauge reads about 60.
Yeah, so if you drill a hole in the top of the side of that container and you put a float valve, that float valve will shut off that water pressure and you will be fine.
Yep. It'll only shut off the product, it'll still produce waste. Now you can get
you just got to close the waistline. Like if you run a waistline and you run a product line, when you run the product, you close the waistline. Otherwise, it's going to shoot out both. So you close your waistline.
It still produces waste regardless.
So you're just gonna close that valve down in the basement, leave your water supply line up, and that valve being closed is just gonna shut off that system. So this thing here is what you're saying will actually turn the system off. Let's do it right now. Jesus Christ, here we go. Fucking turn that on and get your ass downstairs. No, nothing's gonna happen downstairs because you have downstairs closed, right?
You were really happy with your system, and now it's like them 5 wankers. Fuck it.
Like I said, he's going, these fucking assholes.
I'm never doing this fucking shit again.
So I've got mine hooked up to a utility sink.
Yep.
Hold on, Terry.
Water.
I'm just going to spotlight you so everyone can see it. There we go.
Water comes into my system, and then with this hodgepodge of valves, I can flush the membrane. I can flush the pre-filters.
Wait, where's the red?
Before it gets to the DI? I can keep water from going into my storage container. And this is the drain line. I've got check valves everywhere. That's the pink stuff.
Okay.
Got a valve for the membrane. So when I first turn it on, I'm just flushing the sediment filters, the pre-filters. Then once that's clean, I let the membrane flush. Then once it's clean, I flush the DI canisters. Then once they're clean, I send product water to the container.
Okay.
And then once it's full, the float valve hits the top, everything stops.
Okay.
It's not nearly as complicated as everyone's making it seem.
Well, I just don't understand then why, when I had both valves closed, I still had stuff coming out of the waistline. Because according to everybody, that shouldn't have been happening.
I don't flush anything. Ever.
You just let
not even the toilet.
Yeah.
No, that's Brianna's job. She'll come find it.
So you don't flush the membrane or anything, Zach?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I know she should, but I just don't.
I don't
That's
either,
wrong.
but mine's got auto flush system on it anyway.
Same.
I didn't either
Yeah.
for the first year and a half until I added that on. So I mean, it's not. I know it's not necessary. I just was like, well, I wanted to have the TDS meter, and it was part of a kit, so I threw it on there.
Is that reservoir down there then pulled from for your top offs?
No.
Okay.
Top off is right here in the cabinet.
Okay.
So both tanks
Okay, that's good.
pull from there.
Are you ready for a new subject?
I'm good. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I just want to apologize straight away for my confusion, which was the red and blue. I've only ever known red as waste going to drink.
Sure.
I think I hear a few gasping breaths from this horse. So can we please beat the shit out of it for another half hour?
I saw you said you didn't have any. We were running out of room, but I think you could put more coral in there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah, and that you
fish.
could be right. I think what I run into is what goes together, and it's just going to eventually run into each other. So I'm just I like the idea of a tank that's just not a crap load of coral, but all grown out to be large.
Yeah, yes. I think it's hard to learn to let stuff run into each other, and that they have to fight at the wall. But then it looks even fucking cooler in the reef when it's fully grown and they are fighting right there, and they're just growing in the opposite direction after that.
Well, and that's and I kind of went on a limb with where I put that stylo, because I'm like, it's probably before too long here going to get run into by that forest fire digi.
Yeah, it'll look cool.
I don't know. We'll just cross that bridge when we get there. I mean, these two digis are literally touching each other now, and I mean they don't seem to care because they're the same species of coral, but. Yeah, and I don't know. We'll see what happens when the stylo, because there's a little tiny branch starting to pop off of that forest fire digi that's going right in the direction of the stylo, and it'll get there eventually.
Besides torches, that fuck up everything.
Well, like I said, that thing latched on to one of the hammers last night when I was doing the water change, and I just encouraged it away. But it stuck on there pretty good. I had to
You could cut the tips off like Brian.
I was just about to say that's what reminded me of it. He's just straight in there with a pair of fucking scissors. Was that a Galaxia or something he was doing it to?
He does it with the torches too.
Yeah.
Who does?
Yeah.
Brian.
Ryan does?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian.
The other
cuts the long ones?
I think he did it on his tour.
Yeah, he just goes in there with fucking scissors and just snips.
I had that little guy from Worldwide Coral say it as well.
Yes, I know exactly. Yes,
tips off the torch.
Yes.
Yeah, he just cuts it. Just fucking.
So do they grow back then? Those little tips.
He just Lord Bobbits it. Just fucking snips.
Jesus, that seems quite brutal.
That's what I thought too.
I mean, Galaxia deserves it, but leave the torch alone.
I keep him next to the baby goat unicorn.
First time I saw him, it were chalices. I'll just cut stinging tentacles for chalices. Then it's torches. Then it's vacuums. Then it's fuck knows what next.
Jesus.
I'd hate to be his kids, I tell you.
Yeah. It's like Edward Scissorhands, isn't he?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any other questions for Brian?
With peer pressure, what corals would you add? Extract corals would you add? Some sand bed? Something on the sand bed? Or you don't have that much real estate on the sand bed, I suppose.
No, although I have thought about taking, like, this thing here has like 4 of these discosomas on it now. This thing procreates like you wouldn't fucking believe.
Cool.
And so I have thought about taking that. If I could ever get this 10-gallon a little bit better off, I'll probably move that and some of the other softies over there.
Take a trip up to GLC, get a nice purple and green plate, a purple branching digi.
Well, I have to get back up there in the next like 6 weeks anyway, because the thing I went up there for work for, I have to go up there for again. So
keep that urchin for him.
Yeah. Little purple helmet for you.
Can go it off the glass.
So yeah, I don't know what else I would put in here. I mean, I'm probably gonna get. There's a frag. My brother-in-law's got a torch that he's getting ready to frag, so I was gonna put it next to this torch here, kind of in this space between, but it's a lot shorter tentacle.
What about encrusters? Do you have any encrusting corals?
Only one back here. I've got the jack-o'-lantern lepto.
Okay. That'd be cool to see on the rockwork
I technically have this, but that thing hates me. I've had like 3 frags of that, and they all fucking die. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it doesn't like me.
What is it, Brian? Sorry.
Is that Cyphastria or something? What is it?
No, it's a Leptastria.
Okay. I really love the green and purple Leptastria. It's gorgeous.
So yeah, like it's supposed to have
just lepta.
It's supposed to have like, you know, like polyps and flowy shit attached to it, and it's like when I bought it, it looked gorgeous. As soon as I put it in my tank, those polyps never came back out again. Like I never saw it like that again once I put it in my tank. So it just fucking hates me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So and I mean,
what are you dosing on this tank? Sorry, have you said that or not? Have I missed that?
What's the question?
What are you dosing?
Oh, just Alpha Reef.
Okay,
nitrate.
Right.
So yeah, I've got my little setup over here for my testing and all the shit I do to the tank.
So you're not dosing any trace elements then?
Well, no, I mean, so according to Alpha Reef, it's got all that in there.
Bullshit.
Yeah, don't believe them.
Well, and I'm suspecting that it's not coming in the quantities that I need. So like that's why I did water changes 2 weeks in a row, as opposed because I did one last weekend and I did one this weekend because I'm starting to think that I'm not keeping up on trace.
You guarantee it'll be something like that. Why that coral's not doing well? Manganese or something like that.
Yeah, so I was
down
thinking.
Or iodine. That's another one that
I smell an ICP.
Yeah, it's probably time to do another one. Probably by
How often do you do them?
I've done one in my life.
So, all right. Regular then.
Yeah.
Was that on this tank or on your previous tank?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's all the same stuff in the same
new
fish.
setup, though.
It's in a different box.
I've seen a video like that on the internet.
So, I mean, like, yeah, if you look at, I think my previous tank tour is still on the YouTube for Reefy as fuck.
Has he got more views than Jason?
What's that?
Has he got more views than Jason's?
Oh, do I?
No. Do you want me to check?
Yeah, I think it's worth a little perusal.
Jason top 50.
Don't be a fucking cock, Rob. Don't be a cock.
Okay, so yesterday I told you all how many Jason had, which was...
it's gone up.
It's gone up by 1. It's now 42, so maybe Rama did leave it on.
Some poor bastard watched that.
Brian,
what a dumb ass.
51.
Ooh, baby.
Ooh, hey.
20% more.
See, be totally fair. Alex G, who has his entire basement as a tank, has only had 68 views. So there you go.
68.
That's hard to believe.
It's not hard to believe considering our channel actually had the word fuck in it and YouTube literally hid us.
That's true.
You could barely even find us, remember? And I had to change all the descriptions and stuff, and then everything started to then slowly appear.
I'm really not happy. Liam's got 4 more than me now.
Oh, I did think he might overtake. You need to promote it on your gram and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Liam's just watching it himself over and over.
Yeah.
Touching himself at the same time.
I'm pretty sure Liam's been in touch with Aquaforest Lee as well, saying that he's got more views.
Yeah.
So
probably.
He's going to poach.
Aquaforest, there's the
poach
name.
our sponsorship.
Brett could get an Aquaforest tank. I heard, as long as brother-in-laws don't drop them, they're nice tanks.
Yeah.
Was that what happened to somebody here?
You could edit that one out, right?
It's okay. I'll leave it in. They won't watch. So does anybody have any other questions for Brian? I just want to say before we wrap this up, your tank is going absolutely baller. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really well.
And I do wonder if there was something just cursed about your last system.
That's entirely possible. I mean, it did start to turn around before I moved it all over to this, but like ever since I made this change, like for one, okay, like look at the way this fucking shit's moving, right? Like I could not get the way that torch is going. It would either be not moving or fucking blown over sideways. Those are the 2 flow options I had in that stupid innovative marine tank, right? This like gentle, flowy shit, fucking impossible.
So
Fuck that tank.
I think that tank was really fucking you.
I hated that thing. Like I'm sure that there are people that can make that thing work. Not me. It just doesn't. Whatever my brain thinks about with flow doesn't work.
Did you talk about very odd size? Like the display part of it was very odd.
Yes, and it's so long and skinny. There's some jokes there that somebody will pick up, but
I have no idea what you mean.
No, it's like that.
Did you go over what you use for flow? Did you talk about if you have a controller or not?
I don't have any controllers. I use a Nero 3 on this side and a Jabo SLW something on this side. And then I think it's a 10. I think it's one of the, if not the smallest, it's one of the smallest. But that thing moves a shitload of water for the size of it and the price of that thing.
I've just had to take mine out of interest because there was cable stripped on it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And then I mean the hang on the back actually moves a lot more water than you might think. And then this little sumpless ATO overflow actually moved a lot more water than you might think too. Because like when I was letting it jet out the front, I couldn't really have anything down here in the front of the tank because that little annoying ass jet would just come through and create a gyre front to back. And I want my flow to move lengthwise and not front to back. At least in this size tank, I've never liked it where it looks like it's blowing all the corals backwards.
Forgive my ignorance. What's that box on the back? Did you say that's your ATO?
So it's a Sumpless. It's called a Sumpless ATO from XP Aqua. I was just talking to Tom about this last week, I think.
It's a little heard of this.
So it's a little overflow box, basically. So there's a pump down at the bottom there where that nozzle is that's constantly pulling water down through this box. And then that gives a consistent read point for the ATO sensor down there. And then the auto top-off line runs right into that same box.
Nice.
I've never seen one of them before.
A stable water.
So it's like a hidden sensor and a place to put your pump rather than in the reservoir.
Right, exactly.
So the pump is pumping your RO in?
No. The pump is just moving. It's literally just pulling tank water into the box and out the nozzle. It just, all it does is create...
It's like a little return chamber.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What you'd have on a sump, isn't it? It's just replicating that in the tank.
Got you.
Exactly.
Yeah, apologies, I have never seen one.
Yeah. No, I've actually really been happy with it. And this thing's been
going strong. 2 things, Ron, see? Red RO tubes and a in-tank
My mind is blown.
Hey? Hey? Every day's a school day.
Oh, top down.
That's a nice view.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scape is absolutely dynamite. I really like it.
Yeah, it's good. I like that.
So you like the whiter look too?
It gets bluer at night. But I'm actually surprised. I do have a filter on right now, but turn this shit off a minute. Settle it down. But yeah, it goes pretty white during the day.
That's comical, isn't it?
I can't believe you're going to have to move this tank again.
Have you got a controller on those Kessel lights then?
It's got the spectral
sort of on off. I got a spectral.
No, it's got
controller for
the
it.
spectral controller down here.
Okay.
So I really wish Kessel would do a little bit more with the smaller lights like they used to. Because I mean, they're great lights. I like them a lot, but they could really do a lot more with the connectivity of them.
Having a few Kessels as a supplement on big system.
So do they call those like the Tuna Blues or something? Have they got a name?
Yes,
are they
correct.
Tuna Blue? Yeah, right.
Yeah, those are the A160 WE Tuna Blues.
Yeah.
Right.
They remind me a wee bit of Eheim in that they're a massive part of the hobby, but just always just slow to innovate.
Mm.
Well, what's funny is that supposedly the company that actually operates Kessel is one of the biggest LED diode manufacturers in the world. So most of the other lights, the reason they make lights because they can, not because they necessarily need to or want to, is what I've been told. And most of the other light manufacturers get their diodes from the company that owns Kessel.
Wonder if that's anywhere close to Philips, who are heavily involved in all of that.
Yeah. Brian, can I ask, if you had the chance, would you change anything in your RO unit at all?
My RO unit?
We're not going back to that. That is enough.
I would, if I could change one thing about my RO unit, it would be down here by the tank.
Yeah.
Or at least near the reservoir that I want it in, which is how it used to be. But this was the best workable solution I could find for this setup.
9 months to go, it's all going to be fine.
Yep. I'm just grateful to have it set up, honestly. Like, that's the mindset I'm trying to stay in.
Best way to be, mate.
So, like I said, someday I'll plumb a whole fish room together and it'll all be great and fun and awesome. For now, I can make this work.
That tank, is that what you would call a 40 breeder?
Yes. Yep.
Right. Okay. Finally seen one.
Yeah, I used to hear that all the time, Robin.
Oh, no, it's all they go, I'll get a 40 breeder.
No, it's just a 40 breeder. Like you find them in the street.
So what's the dimension to that then? Is that 4 foot long?
No, it's 3 long.
3 foot. Right.
Two front to back, and then I think it's like 18 inches tall.
It's under 40 cents per gallon then. 40 gallon.
Yes, 40 gallon is the volume of it.
Right, okay. 40 breeder.
And what made it a breeder, they call it a breeder because the dimension front to back is more than the height, and it doesn't have a center brace in it. Whereas like your regular 40 tank is taller and not as deep, and it has a brace across the center.
So what does the word breeder have to do with it?
It's better for breeding fish, from what I understand. That was like a size that the breeding industry, I guess, in freshwater came up with that was good for them.
Yeah. They're excellent dimensions. It's very proportionate. Yeah. They just look great in person.
Well, that's like, so the display section on that innovative marine that I had was like literally 10 inches front to back by 3 feet long. It was god awful.
That looked like a pain in the dick.
It was
10 inches.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because it was an all-in-one. Like it took up a bunch of the front to back dimension.
Jesus, yeah, that's like
it was like a 14-inch total dimension internal for the tank, but the filter chambers in the back took up 4 inches of space, so you only had 10 inches left for the
escaping
the display.
Oh,
it was awful.
Knee knickers, Rob.
What's that?
Dicon fiber optics.
So I've just got his head. Oh dear! I thought he was making a legitimate comment there for a minute.
Nope.
Dicon Fiber Optics is who owns Kessel.
Ah, never heard of them.
Yeah, me either. But apparently they do a lot of LEDs, thin film coating technology, like robotics and satellites and shit.
Well, unless anybody has any other questions for Brian, I think we'll wrap it up there. Brian, your tank is looking absolutely dynamite, and thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
For giving us the tour and being so patient with the RO.
Apologies about the RO as well.
I'm going to leave it all in.
Yeah, no, I would love to figure out a better way to operate this that leaves me with a little less stress. I just don't know of a good way to accomplish that yet. So maybe we'll get there someday.
Well, I think we'll talk about it, but we won't record it. If anyone wants to talk about Brian's RO, you can jump into the Discord chat. But if not, if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, and we'll be back with another tank tour. Isn't next Sunday?
No.
Yeah.
Let me check.
Isn't Tom's next Sunday?
No, it's Sunday after.
Yeah. So the next one is on the 2nd of November, and then we have Julian, Big Hat Fanny Pack. He's on the 17th of November. So
because he cancelled.
Yeah. So well, his wife double booked. Let's be honest.
His wife doesn't know how to calendar.
I would like to say,
Tom going to hold two?
I would like to say thank you
his?
to that double booking because it let me have this weekend.
Yeah, this worked out.
It all worked out perfectly. So yeah, I'll try and get the next Salty Banter booked in. And thank you everybody for joining. Thanks again, Brian. And if everyone would like to like and subscribe to see more nonsense, please do. Catch us all in the next one.
Thanks,
cheers, guys.
Brian.
See you all later.
Thanks, Brian. What's new, guys? Anything?
How's that technology going, Ron?
Fucking Christ. Sod all this doing other stuff for other people on other channels. It fucks everything up. How is everybody?
Wonderful.
Morning.
Hey, Brian, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Yes. We just come up there that somebody else was waiting, but they've disappeared. I don't know who that was. This is a shit show.
Was it these?
Hey, there he is. Who are you,
These streams are like chalk and cheese. It's like this one's like all American, and the other one's like all Brits.
Oh, Salty Banter. It was only Zach,
Jason and Zach was in for a while. Yeah.
We went to the local bicycle.
Still drunk by now, Sunday afternoon.
We went to the local bicycle store yesterday to look at getting a new one for the boy, and the guy was English, and he was explaining the aluminum frame to me, and I stopped him. I'm like, "Do you have to think about saying it that way?" He's like, "Yes. How did you know?"
Yeah. So that just says it slightly slowly. Yeah.
So then I told him about all you guys, and he's like, "Oh, I bet you can't understand any of them once they all get together."
Yeah, that one time I hopped on a chat at like lunchtime, and there was a whole bunch of the UK folks in there, and I was like, I have no idea what the hell's going on in here.
I find Rama, even I find Rama slightly difficult to kind of...
Yeah, some of those regional accents are difficult, aren't they?
Yeah. I don't have as much of a problem with Rama, like just Lee. Lee fucks me up.
And here he comes.
Yeah, here he comes.